Hey everyone, I'm not gonna lie, initially I thought this episode was gonna be pretty boring in nature, but I was pleasantly surprised to find out that we actually got a lot of information and a lot of sort of content that allows us to speculate about what's going to happen next, so it was pretty cool. Also, that Frieza transformation by the end was freaking epic. The combination of the music along with the platform finally being finished, or at least, getting close to being finished, because I know we've seen those shots like millions of times, but just the back and forth, as well as the music, as well as Goku being there. The choreography in that scene, in addition to the shading, got me so excited, so hyped, to the point where I even thought to myself, wait, is this a new form that he has? This guy just got out of hell, and he just automatically awakens a new form. But no, it's just golden form, it's a warm-up for him, but still, very, very exciting scene. The episode opens up with Goku lying and then being convinced to tell the truth about what he promised Frieza in exchange for him joining the team. He basically reveals to the gang that he did promise Frieza that if Universe 7 wins, Frieza gets revived with the Dragon Balls. And obviously not a lot of people like this condition, a lot of people hate it, but then Whis makes a really good point about the fact that given the consequences of the tournament, it's actually not that bad. Compared to universal extinction, bringing Frieza back is not that big of a deal. And then Goku says something that he said in the previous episode, which is that if Frieza comes back and starts pulling his stunts or his shenanigans again, they'll take care of him in due time. And they have the manpower. Vegeta and Goku actually have the manpower to do that. There's a couple of lines in this episode from Vegeta that kind of made me raise an eyebrow for a little bit. Well, actually, it kind of sent off an alarm in my head because, so essentially they're trying to convince Trunks to go over to the island where 17 is to take care of his animals for him during the tournament. And not just Trunks, but also Goten. So in that process, they're lying to him, and they're basically saying, oh, it's because we're throwing a party, and Frieza is going to come to this party, right? And Vegeta says this. He says, because Trunks is like, wait a minute, isn't that like a bad guy? Like, wouldn't it be a bad thing if this guy showed up? And Vegeta's like, oh no, he's turned over a new leaf. Now he's a really good guy. Just swell, okay? So in my mind, they're either doing this, to poke fun at the whole thing. It's just never going to happen, and it's just basically there for purely comedic purposes, or this is some pretty tasteless foreshadowing that they're trying to pull with Vegeta saying these things. It would be so ironic if this actually turned out to be true. The Kitela scene with Sidra was actually pretty interesting, just from a story standpoint, because remember, Kitela doesn't owe loyalty or honesty to anybody. So he could be basically playing Sidra in that conversation right there and then. In fact, we know that he was lying to him because he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Universe 7 was saying that, which, by the way, I mean, it's kind of stupid that Sidra just buys all of this, but Kitela's like, yeah, Universe 7 was saying that they were going to take you down first. Universe 9 is going to go down first, according to them. And Sidra just completely gobbles all of this up. Now, to me, Kitela's reasoning doesn't make sense unless he's trying to intentionally mislead and deceive Sidra, because he tells him, hey, by the way, there's this guy called Frieza. You might want to, try and take him out. That way, the roster for Universe 7 won't be complete, and they'll be disqualified because of a lack of contestants. Now, the problem with telling Sidra this, if you really wanted to help Universe 9, it makes no sense because he's basically leading Sidra to go and attack one of the strongest members of Universe 7, which is Frieza. Like, if you really wanted Universe 7 to be disqualified because of a lack of members, you would probably aim for Tenshin Han or Krillin or Roshi, one of the weaker ones, not Frieza. And for a moment there, I thought that Ro, the Kaioshin from Universe 9, actually knew what Kitela was up to, and he was basically convincing Sidra just to follow along. But then that makes no sense either, because we know that I think the Kaioshin get erased too if they lose, right? So that makes no sense. But then there's a shot of the Angel from Universe 9, and he's just kind of smiling there, sort of like eavesdropping. So that he may be the traitor from Universe 9 that's helping Kitela out. He was really sure, Kitela was really sure that this deal was going to go down no matter what. Also, quick shout out to Gowasu, even though he wasn't in this episode, for uploading his videos up to GodTube so that the rest of the universes can understand what Frieza's feats are. Speaking of Universe 9, if you look at the preview for next week, there's a shot of Sidra creating this energy ball, this dark energy ball, and we see in that very same preview that Frieza dodges a very similar energy ball. So I'm wondering if Sidra is going to show up on Earth to try and take down Frieza by himself. That makes even less sense, but it could be a possibility. Because as of right now, we know, we saw those dogs, we saw the people flying over the temple. Those guys look like straight up fodder. There's a training scene with Roshi in this episode. He uses the lightning flash surprise attack on Yajirobe. This technique, if you remember, he used it in the Dragon Ball tournament, and he actually used it against Goku. It's basically an electric attack, but he says that the reason for why he's planning on using this, as well as the Mafuba, is because he can go for an out of bounds using these types of attacks. So he basically paralyzes the victim in midair, the opponent, and I think he can just sort of like move the ray over to like where there is no platform and just let it go that way. I'm assuming that's what he's gonna do. Now, this may just be me, but during that scene, and especially because of the music that played, I kind of got this weird sort of nostalgic, melancholic feeling to the scene. Kind of like almost saying like this may be in fact Roshi's final battle. So anything can happen, but just based on that scene alone, I kind of got the hint that maybe it was foreshadowing that Roshi's probably going to give it his all in the fight, and he's going to die in the Tournament of Power. But that's just the feeling that I got, and then it just kind of turned into a comedic sort of thing because he can't fly. But yeah, there was a sense of seriousness to how he was reflecting about his past. We get a pretty good family reunion scene with the androids and Krillin. And, Goten and Trunks go to the island because they're going to be staying there. There's a couple of poachers there in the water just waiting to make trouble, but whatever. But it was cool because you get to see you get to see 18 interact with 17 after all this time, even though it's kind of implied that they have seen each other here and there. But they're so cold with each other, like they're robotic with each other. And then Krillin's just trying to be nice and trying to sort of kiss 17's ass a little bit, and 18's like, don't do that. You don't have to do that. In fact, she says, if you get my daughter's name wrong again, I'm gonna kill you. Anyway, they take 17 over to Bulma's, and my second favorite scene of this entire episode happens because he reconnects, he sees Piccolo again, and I guess out of respect, Piccolo removes his turban, and 17 actually pulls up his sleeves before they shake hands. I thought that was such a great scene. Before that, though, Piccolo's kind of like teasing him. He's like, hey, have you gotten stronger since then? Since then, obviously being a reference to what happened with, during the Cell arc. And Tonesy's like, how about you? And he's like, glad to have you on the team. It was just such a good moment, because it's a throwback moment. It doesn't have meaning unless you understand what it's referencing. And it's just a cool character moment for both of them. And I think before that, Gohan was saying something like, in order to win, we have to be able to work as a team. We all have one heart, we all have one goal here. And then Vegeta's up in the corner going like, I don't need no teams. I'll take care of everybody myself. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see about that. Teletubby incoming. Another reason for why I really like that scene with 17 and Piccolo shaking hands is because it serves to contrast directly what happens between Goku and Frieza by the end of the episode. It's kind of like the same scene, but with a different outcome because of the characters involved. Oopsie, my hand slipped. So you see the difference between 17 and Piccolo, two fighters that actually fought in the past, okay, but that now have grown and actually respect each other and know that they have to be on the same team and work together to achieve a pretty much a goal that benefits both of them. Well, actually, 17 didn't really care about the universe being destroyed, so that's beside the point. The point is, they respect each other as fighters, and they're civil with each other, versus Goku and Frieza, who are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and just Frieza just being evil, being just a douche, just, hey, how's it going? And then Goku, of course, being Goku, he's like, not bad, asshole. Have one of mine. And then we end the episode with that epic Golden Frieza form transformation. He better not overexert himself. Although he said, I just want to stretch my wings, man, because I've been in hell for too long. Just, I want to flex. So he does that. And I thought it was interesting how they couldn't sense the flying dogs, or, the people from Universe 9, they couldn't sense them, which I think makes sense because in the tournament, in the Xeno exhibition match, remember Bergamo, Lavenda, and Basil, they couldn't, people from the Universe 7 couldn't sense their ki either. So they have some way of restraining their ki from being sensed. So we'll see what happens to them next week. Let me know in the comments section, do you think that Universe 9 is even going to make it to the Tournament of Power at this point? Because to be honest, the odds definitely seem stacked against them. And the tournament hasn't even started. So let me know in the comments section. Because we do technically see Bergamo in the opening, being dominated by Goku. So we'll see. Please comment, let me know what you thought about the episode down below. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more DBS Saturday night reviews. And I'll catch you guys later. Thank you. Bye.